The Minnesota Iceman discovery is a little-known event that happened in 1968. It led to a great deal of pop culture focus on frozen prehistoric men throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s. The Minnesota Iceman is the frozen corpse of a 6-foot-tall, hairy, barrel-chested, half-ape-looking creature. It has a face with an upturned nose, large nostrils, a flat forehead, prominent eyebrow ridges, thick neck, and large hands and feet. The creature lays flat on its back inside of a large freezer that prevents the ice from melting. At this time, it's unknown who truly discovered the preserved body. Some claim that it was found as a block of ice floating off the Siberian coast by a seal hunter. Others claim a whaling ship found the body off the shore of Japan. Some say that it was collected in Vietnam and flown to the US. Still, others claim it was found in a deep freeze facility in China. However, the creature has an eye that is dislocated from the left socket, apparently from a gunshot to the back of the head. It's due to this that many have speculated that it had been shot on a hunting trip in the Whiteface Reservoir in Minnesota. This creature had somehow come into the possession of a carnival baker, a person who announces attractions of a show at events like a circus. His name was Frank D. Hansen. Hansen was showing the creature in 1968 at the International Livestock Exhibition in Chicago. He had described it as the Sibirskoy creature. This drew the attention of one Terry Cullen, a young naturalist that was working at the University of Minnesota at the time. He paid Hansen the attraction dues and studied it as thoroughly as he could. Seeing the dislodged eyeball, the bullet wound in the back of the head, and the bone structure showing fracture in areas that were concurrent with that kind of wound, he concluded that it was indeed a real body. The bone structure, hair, and foot shape led some to believe that this could be evidence of a Bigfoot or a Yeti. This went on to draw the attention of John Napier, a primatologist that worked at the Smithsonian Institution. He was later invited to examine the frozen creature. When he did, he became sure that it was a latex model. Hansen went on to confirm that it was in fact just a model and that he had taken the genuine specimen away from display, fearing he could be found guilty of killing some form of humanoid. The switch to a model explains why over the years, photos have shown it in different poses that are obviously different from the original that Cullen confirmed to be a corpse. As the years went by, the pictures would begin to remove the gory details of the eye and gunshot wound, and the prominent cracked bone in the arm. Sometimes the mouth would be open, and sometimes it would be shut, which would make sense because Hansen was defrosting and refreezing again between showings, explaining the various appearances and poses. Sadly though, the knowledge of who now owns the original body has been lost to time. Unknown if this was the holy grail of Bigfoot evidence or if Hansen was fooling people with a latex dummy the whole time. Staying on the subject of Bigfoot, many interesting stories have come to the surface over the years. Some of these interesting accounts detail that of the military encountering Bigfoot. There have been many reported sightings of a massive legendary creature known as Bigfoot all over the world. They are mostly sighted in remote areas, sometimes in urban and very rarely in city parks. However, the most unlikely place you would think to see a Bigfoot is near a military base. Yet some researchers have argued that there have been more reports of Bigfoot being sighted by military personnel than civilians. Throughout the years, there have been a few reports that have leaked from military installations, mostly those around the 1970s. By far the most notable and the most credible is that of an encounter near Fort Lewis in the US. This is an Army military installation in Washington state, which is in the middle of a rather large wooded area. The year was 1978. A truck full of soldiers coming back from training exercises broke down at around 8 p.m. Attempts were made to restart the engine, but nothing worked, so the platoon headed off to the base on foot to bring back a tow truck. They left one Edwin Godoy to guard the truck until the tow truck arrived. He was left because he was the one who had signed out the truck. Edwin spent hours by himself just sitting in the truck. He was bored, but his evening would soon perk up. At around midnight, he began to hear strange sounds from the forest that this road cut through. The sounds continued to get louder and closer, prompting Edwin to get out of the truck arming himself with a rifle and a flashlight. As he stood in front of the truck, sweeping the sides of the woods with his flashlight, he caught a glimpse of a large object moving directly in front of the truck. It was a tall, broad creature entirely covered in hair that walked by swinging his body sideways. When Irwin shined his light at it, it stopped in its tracks and stared directly at him. They locked eyes for a short time before the creature began to run at him at a bafflingly quick speed. Edwin shouted 3 times for the creature to stop and identify itself. However, the beast didn't reply and got close enough to cause harm to Edwin. Gripped with fear, he shot the creature in the chest. This barely stopping the speed of the animal, it merely growled, grabbed its chest and turned to the right and went back into the forest. In a few seconds, it was gone. After a long and fearful night, the mechanics finally arrived. After Edwin conveyed what happened, they were quite skeptic until one spotted the blood trail that led to massive footprints pressed into the nearby soft ground. Shortly after, a radio call was made to the base explaining what had happened. The area was swamped by secretive government scientists in hazardous material suits. These researchers then began taking blood samples and setting casts of the footprints. The whole time Edwin was told not to speak to anyone and was kept away from what was going on. After a short time, Edwin was quickly taken away to the base hospital, but surprisingly, instead of being examined by the base's medical staff, he was examined by a doctor from the Air Force that held the rank of full colonel. Years later, Edwin went on to reveal in an interview after the event had been declassified that rather than interrogating him, the colonel was extremely interested in every slight detail of the event. After which, Edwin was returned to his barracks and told in no circumstances was he to tell anyone what happened. So, what are people seeing? And could Gigantopithecus have survived and be Bigfoot? For years, Bigfoot has been nothing but a creature of legend, as there has never been hard proof of its existence outside that of eyewitness reports. However, scientists are now beginning to think they might have an answer to why this supposed mythical creature keeps being reported the world over. Scientists have conducted analysis of the protein structure of tooth enamel in fossils of Gigantopithecus that are estimated to be 2 million years old. Gigantopithecus has been proven for a fact to have once lived on the Earth, leaving behind thousands of teeth and 4 partial jaws that have been discovered today. The fossils proved to be from warm, humid regions, believed to be that of Eastern Asian areas. However, recent teeth found in the swampy regions of the Americas that were thought to be Gigantopithecus have also been analysed. Their tooth enamel protein structure has been shown to date back no more than 10,000 years. It has been hypothesized that the Gigantopithecus genome might have split some 12 million years ago. The most common branch evolved into what is known today as the primate family, consisting of monkeys, apes, and gorillas, while the second branch of the genome might have evolved into what is known as Bigfoot and Yetis. While the main branch slowly developed the human-like features that we know today, the second branch is believed to have extended the Gigantopithecus gene, elongating the arms and increasing the height. It's believable that the second gene could have survived this entire time undiscovered, as it dwells in warm, damp areas where bodies decompose quickly, rapidly hiding any corpses. Its large body also helps it in fleeing before being seen. Some scientists also believe it is within reason that this second species could have divided into many breeds over time, resulting in the black, shorter, smellier breed that would inhabit the swampy areas of Florida that have been nicknamed the skunk ape. The taller brown version found in the west, closer to the Rocky Mountains, are known to be more aggressive, and finally, the white, brawlier version that lives in the colder areas such as Alaska are known as the Yeti. But what do you make of these sightings and encounters? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.